Ian O'Brien here. I've got Martin Pinnington here to have a chat about his experience learning guitar. He's been learning with me now for around a year, and he's had some really great progress in terms of technique and the songs that he's learning and progress on the guitar. And so I thought it'd be really good to share it with you guys and see what that experience is like and how he's done it. So thanks very much for joining me, Martin. I really appreciate it.
That's okay. That's fine. Hi,
Cool.
everyone.
Excellent. So let's start off with your motivation for wanting to play guitar. Where does that come from?
Yeah, so as you might know, my dad has played in bands and things all of his life. Well, since he was in the 20s, he's now in his 70s. Um, we had our first daughter, our only child, in October 2019. And given the onset of coronavirus and working from home and things, I thought it'd be a good idea to try and keep my dad's gift, if you like, in the family and start trying to learn it myself and pass it on to my daughter, really. That was the primary aim. It wasn't any real kind of intention to become good or get into bands or anything like that. I just wanted to be able to show her really that it's cool to make music and to play music, and hopefully we're on track to doing that, although she's a bit of a rebel, so let's see what happens. But
Brilliant.
given how good my dad is, it's taken me 39 years or whatever to pick up a guitar, so who knows how it's going to go. But as a side kind of track to that, it's ignited a flame for me, and I'm absolutely loving it. So even if she doesn't pick it up, I'm still going to carry on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And well, you have made really good progress, but even if it's not something she takes on board as a player, I believe it's great to just to have music around and live,
Yeah,
real somebody with an instrument and to see them around the house and to hear that from an early age. It's not something I had growing up. But I think about that as well. My daughter's coming up to her first year now, and she's not playing the guitar, but she has a little grab of the strings and that kind of thing, and just likes that it's around. And I think that's
yeah,
important developmentally as well as much as whether they'll pick it up themselves ultimately. What's
yeah.
your what I was going to ask you next is how was your guitar playing before we started working together? Whereabouts were you with it? What was happening?
So I think I started around January in 2021 on your course, if my math is right.
I think so.
Um, and I started in the summer of 2020. So I'd been playing for about 6 months before I started with you. Um, I guess the first thing that I did was get a couple of books and learn how to change chords was my primary kind of goal initially. Um, Using metronome and just very repetitious exercises, which is required, I think. But as part of that, because my guitar playing was just on an acoustic to start with, obviously they're quite loud if you're not very good at it, which I wasn't at the time, with a pick.
Mhm.
So my playing was solely with my thumb. I was just strumming my thumb,
That's it, yeah.
which obviously is, as you'll know, is very limiting in terms of audibility and just generally expanding as a guitar player. It's difficult if you only use your thumb. So by the time I'd come to you, I think I was just starting on the basic bar chords, so the shape, if you like, bar chord. But I was still with my thumb. So I'd had a few, got a few chords under my belt at that time, and I think the first song I started to practice was Yellow Submarine, which is quite an easy kind of G, D, C kind of progression.
Mhm.
Um, but I just wanted to kind of get away from just that regular up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I think our initial kind of I don't know if this is still the same question, to be honest, but our initial call, it became obvious that you do a very structured kind of course, and you focus on the strumming pattern side of things almost as equally, and that is as equally important, I think, in my view, as being able to change chords and keeping that rhythm going. And I just want, as part of that as well, and obviously we've got the weekly kind of mentorship calls and an absolutely enormous song catalogue. So sorry if I've gone off piste here, but at the point of when I joined you, I was decent with chord changes, pretty terrible with rhythm and picking. So I just wanted to see if that would help, if your course would help in that sense and move me forward.
Cool, excellent, fantastic. Yeah, I remember probably the first big challenge was getting comfortable with the pick and holding that and the technique, and it's not, moving around and that sort of thing. And you seem, I think that seems like a long time ago now though, but
yeah. I still think my left hand is better than my right hand. It's definitely caught up to some extent, and hope one day it'll be on the same playing field kind of thing.
yeah, fantastic. And what was your kind of so we were looking at rhythm primarily, and what was your sort of experience like sort of during the year of learning? We've covered quite a bit of ground, but could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so not only did it kind of really establish how to change chords, the rhythm and the strumming pattern part of your course was just brilliant for me. It kind of really broke down everything that you need to know in terms of how to play a proper rhythm and how to adapt rhythm. And obviously there is an element of it's just you feel it, don't you? And the song you can do what you want, but I think you need to have a stock of rhythm patterns in your armory before you can start to really kind of play a song properly. And you've got that section of the process which starts off with just a down, and then 2, 3, 4, and you just build. It just builds from that. And at the end of it, and it's not we're not talking about a year into the process here, but at the end of that, it's probably 2 or 3 months, I was about 100% better, if not 200% better than I was when I first started within about 6 months. And yeah, so that really did keep the fire burning, if nothing else as well, because you realize that you can actually really make music and really make it sound good, and it's not just a case of boring up and down, or just using your thumb. As in addition to that, you've got the exercises for different ways of strumming. So you've got the pick, the demonstration, and that obviously is very detailed. You've got the finger, which I've still not got the grip to be honest, but I've not really tried it that much because the picking bit was so successful. So yeah, that the journey was just really positive. And in addition to the videos and the course itself, you've got really great song lessons, which, as I'm sure most of the community will agree with me on this, is just absolutely brilliant in terms of going from the first note, if you like, to the whole song and everything you need. And then you've got the mentorship calls, which you can just address any problems. And I know we're not in person. That's the way things are these days, isn't it? Really, but I didn't see that as a barrier, because you still look at hand position, you still tell people how to change that hand position or change little nuances that you might expect only to be able to be possible when a person physically moves your hand in a direction or whatever. But no, it was just a really good experience, and really kind of accelerated my ability, I think.
Cool, fantastic. Yeah, I remember a very quick kind of ramping up of what you could do on the guitar and really coming together. And part of that is you had a number of skills that you'd been developing in different areas before we started working together, but we needed to really put them together as a whole and just fill in some gaps that allowed it to come together with a structured approach through them, which
Yeah.
you're doing fantastically. In terms of what was I going to say? The rhythm side of things, like you said, we do go through quite a very structured approach to building rhythm from the ground up and getting your own internal sense of rhythm, because a lot of people believe that you either have rhythm or you don't, but it really is a case that you learn key coordinations and then you can do them over and over again. It is a little bit like riding a bike or driving a
Mm.
car, using the clutch while you're navigating around or checking, who's behind you and that kind of stuff. It's building in one skill at a time so that you can deal with the situations as they come up. And then at first you're thinking very rationally about it. We're thinking very logically, building coordination. But once you've got those stored, you can just play. They can become quite an effortless part and an automatic part of what you're doing when
Yeah.
you're playing, which is great. Yeah. So that's really nice. That's where we want it to be. So you can just relax and enjoy and play once we've built those coordinations. So that's fantastic, and you've excelled at that. I think very very quickly. And in terms of the teaching online, it's an unusual one because people believe that the kind of gold standard of guitar learning is going to a guitar teacher once a week, having a one-to-one lesson, and it's kind of a bit counterintuitive. But I found with about I'm about 20 years into teaching now, and obviously I have done one-to-one quite a lot, and then groups at music college and that sort of thing, and then online as well, using Zoom and helping my students. And I've never seen better results than the way I've chosen to teach now, and that's the reason I've chosen to teach this way. It's a really strange thing, but we can pinpoint exactly what's happening with your playing and help
Yeah.
you with the steps through over Zoom and with a complete structured approach. And you don't have to leave your weekly lesson having to commit it all to memory to then apply it during the week and that
So I
sort of
think, I
thing.
don't know if you agree with this, but
Mhm.
the things you've got available to your members are all the time. You go to a one-to-one lesson, you'll have an hour's kind of whatever kind of intent. It's no more intense than actually any other lesson, but a focused kind of thing on a piece of music or whatever. You'll go away, and then it's just up to you. Whereas with your tools online, you get that anyway in terms of the mentorship call or the lesson. You've got a week to do it yourself, and but you can ask questions. You can get feedback from more experienced members if you're on holiday or not available immediately. Obviously, you do come back very quickly anyway, but um, you can follow that up every week with the tools that are there online as well. So it's not just a case of having the lesson and going away and trying to sort it out yourself. There's so much support and you can't get in real life, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and the members of the program are exceptional, aren't they? The amount of help that other people give, you included, very much. Once you've overcome a particular challenge and somebody asks about it, you can share your actual real experience overcoming that specific thing. And obviously everyone comes across different challenges, and I'm there every day to get back to you with help, so you don't have to sit in frustration until your next guitar lesson comes around or something like that. That's doesn't do anybody any good.
No, it only puts you off and it only makes you think, I can't do this. I'm not good enough for this, because there's so much stuff online which says things like, you're either good at guitar or you're not. And it's just nonsense.
Yeah, there's a
Obviously, there's
incredible
different
amount of
ability
hearsay.
levels across the world in any kind of anything that you do, and you're not going to be Jimmy Page in a year. Nobody is, and you may never be, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
There's enough if you put what you put into it is what you get out of it, and the stuff that you have in your program really helps you get out of get what you want out of your guitar learning better, I think, than anything that I've come across so far. So
Cool.
kudos to that.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great to hear, and that's my perspective on it as well. Like, what is going to help my students the most, and so it might sometimes be something they've never seen before in terms of their expectation of how lessons work. Fantastic. Do you remember the first song that you learned to play? What it was?
From the process, I think it was Karma Police.
Nice.
That was still with my thumb at the time, and I still can't do the bass, the bass rhythm of it. But I can strum it and I can sing to it now as well, which
Fantastic.
wouldn't have happened before. But yeah, it was definitely that.
The coordination. That's really good. Have you played that one recently?
No, I don't think so. Maybe about 6 months ago.
Cool. Because I wouldn't be surprised if you could do that rhythm now. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I can certainly do probably more intricate rhythm in
Yeah.
what other songs we're learning. But yeah, I've not sat down and really kind of ground out this is how it's done kind of thing. And I think to get to a position where I'm comfortable with it, it takes a lot of repetition sometimes. I've not done that for Common Police, but I think I could, given that everything that I've had at my disposal, and I'm probably set up to do that much better now than I was when I first started.
Cool. Excellent. What are some of the other songs you've learned, sort of particular highlights or over the year?
I think two of my favourites, particularly from your stock, are Here Comes the Sun and Hotel California. So not just the kind of strumming of it, it's as close to the real thing as I think I can get, and I think anyone can get. It's really good kind of tab sheet and the kind of warm-ups that you have to do, up, down, and making sure you get your rhythm, the direction of you picking right in the first place. And yeah, those, when I think I uploaded a video quite recently of when I learned it and where I am now, and obviously there's a bit of improvement in terms of speed, but just even then the foundations were there, and it was kind of pleasing after quite a short time, just following the video very closely and repeating. It's just, that's one of my favorite songs ever. So to have been able to do that, it's just, firstly, thank you for doing it and doing such a great job of it. And yeah, likewise with Hotel California. It's one that my dad loves, and he's obviously quite proud that I can do it as well now. I can't do the lead part of it like he can, but maybe in 10 years it might be there, but who knows. But that's another great plus, I think, for me, is being able to just sit down and jam with him.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It would never have happened if I hadn't have got this far. And yeah, so yeah, it's good. It's great.
Cool. That's superb. Well, that's some very detailed and intricate songs that you've cracked. So that's really impressive. I think the two you mentioned are two of the more advanced songs that I've ever taught in a way, in terms of the intricacies. And we recently did, I don't know if you checked it out yet, but we did Millionaire by Chris Stapleton. And that's got a really nice, quite intricate intro as well.
Okay. That was yesterday's, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yesterday. And that's sort of a modern country kind of thing, but pretty nice guitar, very tasteful guitar playing.
Yeah.
Do you know how many songs you've learnt to play over the year?
I think one of my kind of flaws, if you like, in my guitar learning is I don't play a song from start to finish very often. So in terms of whole songs, I would probably say about 10. But I think the majority of about probably 50 plus songs I could be quite comfortable with now. And I think if I wanted to learn a song, particularly if it was just kind of from start to finish, I don't think I'd have much of a problem with that if the chords were open chords with a few bar chords thrown in. So
Yeah,
I think I'm focusing at the moment on more blues stuff, more getting into the lead kind of stuff. So I'm not really focusing as much on playing songs from start to finish, but
yeah,
obviously that stuff will definitely help me if I want to pick up a song. I've already got the building blocks for the strumming part.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the 10 songs you've learned, they're not simple 3 chord songs, are they? It's intricate stuff,
Yeah.
which is
So
great.
like, I think off the top of my head, so Calm and Police I can do from start to finish. Time of Your Life, the strumming of it. Here Comes the Sun.
Great.
Hotel California, just the rhythm part, obviously. I did spend quite a lot of time on And I Love Her by the Beatles, which is another great lesson, which I'm pleased I can do that from start to finish. Let It Be. There's a theme here, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, I might be underselling the 10, but there's probably more than 10 I can do. I think, what's the Welsh band? God.
Was it Stereophonics?
Kelly Stereophonics, yes. So, what's the song called? Dakota, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah, I remember you doing that.
That one that you did a while ago, which I did it from start to finish. So yeah, I would probably say a dozen, maybe pushing 20. But the more important thing for me is having the building blocks to be able to look at a song sheet and play it, basically. Or as long as the chords are there and I know what the strumming pattern is, then I can work on that. And if I wanted to, I could probably get from start to finish at some point.
Cool. Yeah, fantastic. And it's not simple stuff. Like you've gone right through to the highest level that we have in the program, doing songs at Blue Pick and stuff. So it's really great progress. What in order to get there, what does your practice look like? What's it been like over the last year? Like how many times are you picking the guitar up a week, and for how long? That sort of thing.
Daily. I've definitely got the bug. When I first joined the process, I think getting through yellow and orange pick levels was probably looking at least half an hour a day. Weekends, I would probably spend a good 2 hours with the kind of chord changes and then the songs as well. I mean, it wasn't just the kind of boring exercises every day. It was maybe 10 minutes of that and then going into a song. At the moment, yeah, probably similar. It annoys me if I've not picked the guitar up for a day.
Right.
So working from home really does help. I can have an hour's lunch and grab a sandwich and then spend the rest of the time doing what I need to do or want to do on the guitar. So in terms of like exercise of what I'm doing, I think given where I am at the moment, I'm starting to look at scales and things. So the kind of exercise element of it is more picking rather than strumming. But I'd say the bulk of the time is spent learning a song still. So it's just focusing on the song lesson really.
Yeah, nice, cool. And would you recommend my teaching to somebody who was in your situation?
Definitely, 100%. It's for a beginner going into intermediate or even starting off. Obviously, when I joined, I was slightly more than just a beginner.
Yeah.
A very early beginner. So I kind of skipped the white pick level, but looking at members' progress who did start similar to me, who started at white pick, they've advanced quite quickly. Most of them are now in orange pick as well, I think. I couldn't recommend it enough really, because it's got, as I said before, it's got everything that you need to really get started and really kind of deal with any problems that you might have. So yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Lovely
Personally,
stuff.
definitely in that sense.
Cool. And what advice would you have for any an adult beginner wants to play guitar, or is struggling with anything like that?
um, if somebody wants to play guitar, I'd say learn to walk. Obviously, before you can run, it is definitely like you and I have probably seen over the last year or two, like watching a child walk or learn to walk. It's a skill just like anything else that we've learned in our lives. Um, that now we're 40 or 50 or whatever years old, we think it shouldn't be this hard, but it's proper going back to really things that you've never done with your hand before. So you really need to just not be impatient. I think is the first thing. You need to practice as much as you can. I would say, I've been quite fortunate in how much I can practice, but picking the guitar up for an hour a week, I don't think is going to be enough to progress too quickly anyway. So if you can just fit in 10 to 15 minutes a day, I think is probably fine with a chunk at the end of the week if possible. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you can't do something immediately, this is I'm not just saying this. It will happen eventually if you try hard enough and you practice hard enough and you practice the right things, and you've got that within here and the forum. So yeah, I mean, dedication, patience, and just enjoy it. It's to be enjoyed. It's not something that should be work. And if it is, if you're finding it frustrating and too much hard work, just take a step back and go back a level and work on something more fundamental, like the strumming pattern or the finger position or whatever.
Yeah, fantastic. Solid advice, definitely. Yeah, to have those building blocks in place, because then we're building everything that we do on top of them. If we're jumping into something more advanced and trying to play it, and there's a key bit missing, it can be a frustrating experience. So you're right. Yeah, really good advice. Absolutely, I agree with you completely. Um, cool. Well, lovely stuff, Martin. You like I said, you're doing really fantastic with your guitar playing. So
Thank
well
you.
done with that. And yeah, looking forward to carrying on. And
Yeah, I will attest to how good Ian's course is that I've signed up for another year. So there we go.
cool. Yeah, true fact. Lovely stuff. All right. Well, thanks very much, Martin. I
No,
appreciate
no,
it.
it was a pleasure. Thank you. Cheers.